So welcome to the channel. Today's tutorial is going to be very simple, and the entire premise is just how to actually preserve layers in Zbrush while also changing the fundamental topology of your model or altering it heavily. And while this will keep layers after geometrical changes, the polypaint will get merged, so keep that in mind. You can also use this method when you're importing layers and all kinds of stuff from even other software, including 3D Code or even different states of geometry from Blender. It really works like that. Keep in mind that the only requirement in this case is that you have a buffer storage space, which is preferably around 20 gigabytes or perhaps 50. It really depends on how many layers you want to add, as well as how much size your model is. Also, preferably, you would also disable autosave for a couple of reasons, but just make sure that quick save or anything like that is not active. Make sure to also have a backup file in case something goes wrong, because this method is not exactly 100% guaranteed to work first try. It might need some experience. So the first thing we want to do is open our Zbrush file and remove all the layers which we have on our model. Also remember to never save while we are doing this process. Once you have deleted all the layers, what you want to do is actually freeze your subdivision levels. After freezing your model, you are essentially telling Zbrush that you want to start modifying the low poly version. Now you want to edit the low poly of your sub-D model, and at this stage you can actually start changing things in your model and fixing them the way you want. For this method to work, we need to store multiple OBJ files of the same model with all the different layers applied. You will have to record the process so that you can clearly and comprehensively repeat it later in the same exact way as you initially did. For this to work, you'll have to do the entire process the same way, exactly in the same order, in every single instance of your mesh with all the different layers and combinations applied. And there is two reasons for it. The first, most crucial reason is that Zbrush needs the model to have the same exact topology once you want to import the different layers. The second thing is called the vertex order, and basically Zbrush assigns a number to every single vertex you place based on when you placed it and which came before and after creating that specific vertex. So if you're gonna basically fill a hole, a 4x4 hole, you better place every single quad that is filling it in the same exact order as every other instance. They have to be all the same. Otherwise, they might look the same and have the same topology, but they will have different vertex numbers basically. So it's gonna kind of mess the model up. So keep that in mind too. That's why you gotta record the entire thing and do it exactly as you did before. However, the thing which Zbrush does tolerate is that if there's like a slight offset when you're moving, you don't have to like move by a unit or something. You can do it freeform, that doesn't matter. Just have the same topology, aka connection of the mesh and all different vertices, as well as the same vertex order. Basically, after you are done with using ZModeler and affecting topology, you go and you unfreeze the subdivision. And right after that, the one thing you want to do is just export. And right after exporting, basically quit the file and do not save it, because you will do a run of this whole process as many times as the amount of layers you have plus one. So keep this in mind. And once you have exported all the layers you have as an OBJ file, this is when you are going to start merging them into one. So for instance, I do have this dragon right here, and in this case, because I have other subtools active in this file, I will have to go through the first method, which is basically you're also going to do those changes in ZModeler and free subdivision again, but you will have to apply all layers, because this method does not keep polypaint in separate layers. And after you have unfrozen your model, the the first thing we're going to do now is just import the base layer mesh. Basically the OBJ, which is derivative of the first instance of the dragon maybe I have here, but without any layers on. This is the first step. Once you have done that, we will go to the morph target menu and we will store a morph target. And right after that, we will do the exact same thing. And we will import another model, which is basically another layer. Once it's imported, the first thing you gotta do is just switch morph target, which is the stored morph target which you have, and the one you imported, and it activates the original one basically. And after you have really just done that, go to the layers and start recording. And once you're there, switch the morph target again, and it will reinstate that layer. Keep in mind that when you're doing this, there's two things to think about. The first thing is that when you're exporting in the beginning, keep only one layer active at a time. And when you're importing, you have got to make sure to basically only use the base mesh once you're basically storing the morph target right before installing a new layer in. And basically that was just it. Now you have all the layers which you do need for your adjustments and all types of things. So I hope this tutorial helped.